So I want to talk about something here called spiritual narcissism. So what that is, usually spiritual narcissism, not usually, but like a consensus of spiritual narcissism, is when somebody positions themselves as a spiritual person, well, they actually do not have the powers. Or they have the powers of sort of vampirism. It's not even like full blown vampirism. Narcissism is vampirism only sideways, right? What do I mean sideways? When I say sideways, I mean that it means that they have only like 30% of power, to 40% of power of actual, like, let's say, vampirism, because vampirism is a thing of its own. I'm not gonna talk about it here though. But, like, energy vampire is not a vampire. I want you to understand this part at least and just reassign them elsewhere. Like, vampires are vampires, energetic vampires are completely something else. I just have received that name for their sake of, like, what they, do, like the consensus of making names up to explain it easier. Spiritual narcissism is a person, like a person is a spiritual narcissist when they basically position that they follow something, follow their own stuff spiritually, while they don't do that stuff. They don't. They just try to make you do it. But they don't do that. They don't do the work. They don't do the ascension. They don't do the elevation. Elevation is lower than ascension. It's like how you go to the ascension part. Ascension is a biggie. Okay? And spiritual narcissists, they just like to position themselves as a gurus because it pays off for their narcissism. I know it can be quite difficult to discern, right? Who's like an actual spiritual leader or master or however you call it. I don't like the word master. I'm no one's master. You do whatever the frick you want to. Master as a mastery, maybe, yeah, maybe I've mastered a few of the things, let's say. But, like, damn, no. Like, ugh, yikes. Ugh. It's kind of gross. I think even guru is a better word. Even though it's been a little bit, you know, put in a language in such a way that it's kind of like icky. Like, ugh, like, the associations that people make frequently in the socium. But yeah, spiritual narcissists, let's go back to that. And basically, these are the guys that will. It can be really difficult to detect them. I'm gonna be real with you. Because you cannot observe what they do in their life, right? Mm. And but yeah, these are the people that really gain the masses and they can really talk people into things and persevere them with their charisma, with how they're so, with manipulation tactics and their charisma and the way they have with people. They can have plenty of contacts and they can literally have plenty of also flying monkeys, these people that follow them. The followers that enable them, they say they're the greatest person ever in the world. I don't know, they helped them out in whatever way when they just used common psychology tactics and manipulation tactics and made the person think that it's something big. Well, it has been some basic psychological thing, for example. Something basic, not really spiritual, but like the main case though, it is that, that the person literally just doesn't do anything of what they preach. They don't practice what they preach, they just love to preach. They don't do the soul work. They don't do the elevation. They just love to preach to other people and to also humiliate other people because they sit on a pedestal. It's as if they preached, did what they preach. Well, they don't. And you don't know that. And they play that game. It's mind games. They play those mind games because you're the silly Billy. They don't do that. Well, you pay them. And they have that huge platform with plenty of people, let's say. They have a whole business around that. Well, that's spiritual narcissism. Or, I don't know, plenty of surroundings, plenty of supporters, of enablers, flying monkeys. Those are not friends, those are flying monkeys. A narcissist never has friends. They have flying monkeys. The people who have not realized who they actually are. The people who, just stick to them for whatever reason. Some also might use them in response. Some of their parts. Let's say they have a brand. Let's say they have a, confirmation. Let's say they have a freaking, they have a whole ass, I don't know, social agenda. They have plenty of followers. They have some type of, any type of strength or any type of influence. It doesn't have to be someone with millions of followers. No, it doesn't have to be. It just has to be a charismatic and liked enough person who can talk people into manipulative ways, can manipulate them, and seems to be, I don't know, the best helper, the best person ever, basically. And they won't be the truth speakers usually. They'll avoid to speak the truth, they'll go in circles, man. They'll drag the talk in circles with some huge meanings, something so significant about some gazingas other topics, about gazingas something else, something wow, whoa, below. They have a way with words. They will not address the court case, they will go away around with words, beautiful meanings, wow, this and that, this amazing thing, that amazing thing, and this other stuff that he had, and this freaking other thing. When they talk about the case or when they respond to your question, they will go around. They will not address the core topic, they will go around. Because that's the easiest way to basically put that fog, wrap it in fog. They're wrapping it up in that fog. It's a mind game. The smooth operator. Some came to my. That's a round game. It doesn't mean that they talk a lot. It's not just talking a lot. Use that discernment. It's not just talking a lot. It's literally and this other thing that they had, and blah blah blah, completely out of the case, and you were like, what the frick? How did they start talking about this topic, and why? And why? Well, that's just partial thing. Yeah. I don't know what else I can add, but that's that about spiritual narcissism. Oh, and I addressed this topic because I talked about that soulmates are similar to one another. There are actual spiritual narcissists. What I mean with this case and why I addressed this case after I spoke about soulmates and that they look alike, especially I said about the eyes, right? But there can be spiritual narcissists who are like soulmates, who look alike. These are not soulmates. They're just narcissistic. They're just like, oh, you look like me. Love that. They don't confuse that. They don't actually love each other. They just jerk off each other, basically, some weird auto-tune type of a thingy. Don't confuse that with being a soulmate. There are such people out there with interesting filias and stuff like that, okay? Just don't confuse that. Usually it's all in the eyes. It's all in the eyes, bro. That's all. Thank you for listening.